Every word can send a message. Growth mindset is the belief that intelligence is not fixed, but instead can grow with effort, practice, strategies, and time. But where do mindsets come from? In her book Mindset, The New Psychology of Success, Carol Dweck says, "No parent thinks, I wonder what I can do today to undermine my children, subvert their effort, turn them off. Of course not. They think I would do anything, give anything to make my children successful. Yet many of the things they do boomerang. Their helpful judgments, their lessons, their motivating techniques often send the wrong message. In fact, every word in action can send a message. It tells children how to think about themselves. It can be a fixed mindset message that says you have permanent traits and I'm judging them, or it can be a growth mindset message that says you are a developing person and I am committed to your development." Trevor Reagan of Train Ugly raised awareness about the role mindset plays on motivation and learning on January 17th. If you missed Trevor's presentation, there are links to his videos on the Growth Mindset tab on the parent portal of our website. This presentation is about raising awareness about the messages you send and the impact those messages have on your daughter's mindset. There are 3 ways to critique or praise someone. You can praise the person, the outcome, or the process. Praise or critique that is directed at the person usually involves the word you. You are so smart. You are such a good dancer. You aren't good at math. You can't shoot. You can also praise or critique the outcome or the result. Wow, you got an A. Good job. Great win. Let's celebrate. You played really bad. Both critique of the person or the outcome or praise of the person or the outcome can be destructive and likely creates a fixed mindset. The person becomes more concerned with looking good than getting better. Praise or critique can also be directed at effort and strategies that went into the process. Nice work on that test. You must have really worked hard preparing for it. That wasn't your best performance. What do you think you can do better next time? The goal here is to focus on what led to the outcome. This encourages a growth mindset, leads to more grit, determination, work ethic, and better performance. Train Ugly conducted a study to measure the types of feedback people hear throughout the day. They sent out what they referred to as the Train Ugly Feedback Report, which is shown. They sent it to coaches, parents, students, and teachers in Australia and the United States. They found that the majority of feedback is the wrong feedback. It does not foster improvement or a growth mindset. Only 24% of feedback people get is directed at the process. Over 75% of feedback people hear throughout the day is directed at outcomes or at them as a person. The takeaways here are that people are great at giving the wrong kind of feedback, feedback that promotes a fixed mindset. People could use work at giving good feedback, feedback that promotes improvement and a growth mindset. We will foster a growth mindset by making feedback more consistent across the board. In other words, teachers and parents giving the same type of feedback, feedback that promotes improvement and a growth mindset. What teachers say to your children matters, but what you say matters more. Subtle difference in praise can have a massive impact on mindset. Listen for the messages in the following examples. You learn that so quickly. Look at that drawing. Is she the next Picasso or what? You're so brilliant. You got an A without even studying. If you're like most parents, you hear these as supportive, esteem-boosting messages. Carol Dweck asks us to listen more closely to see if we can hear another message. It's the one that children hear. If I don't learn something quickly, I'm not smart. I shouldn't try drawing anything hard, or they'll see I'm no Picasso. I'd better quit studying, or they won't think I'm brilliant. Praise the process, not the person. Let's look at a 2-minute video.
Our intuition is often to praise students for being smart. This sends the wrong message. When students later encounter a setback, they conclude, if my past success made me smart, my current struggle makes me dumb. Instead, praise students when they work hard to accomplish a difficult task. This implies that you value hard work and that hard work is the cause of success. A study with 5th graders shows the striking impact of different types of praise. Researchers asked students to complete a set of moderately challenging problems. Then, the researchers told all students that they did well. They were all told, "Wow, that's a really good score." For 1/3 of students, the feedback stopped there. For another third of students, they were given intelligence praise. In addition to, "Wow, that's a really good score," they were also told, "You must be smart at this." And another third were given effort praise. In addition to, "Wow, that's a really good score," they were told, "You must have tried really hard." After students received feedback for their high scores, then they were all given a more challenging set of problems. The praise that students heard had a significant impact on students' motivation. But that's not all. After students experienced the challenging set of problems, they were given a final set of problems, equal in difficulty to the first set. Students who just heard, "Wow, that's a really good score," didn't see a difference in their performance on the first set of problems and the last set. That's not surprising since they were equal in difficulty. What's interesting is how the praise impacted students. Students who heard effort praise, who were told, "You must have tried really hard," did better on the final set of problems. And what's most surprising is that students who were given intelligence praise, who were told, "You must be smart at this," actually did worse. Just one line of praise significantly impacted students' performance.
Praising children's intelligence harms their motivation and it harms their performance. As Dweck explains, yes, children love praise, and they especially love to be praised for their intelligence and talent. It really does give them a boost, but only for the moment. The minute they hit a snag, their confidence goes out the window, and their motivation hits rock bottom. If success means they're smart, then failure means they're dumb. That's the fixed mindset. Parents think they can hand children permanent confidence like a gift by praising their brains and talent. It doesn't work and in fact has the opposite effect. It makes children doubt themselves as soon as anything is hard or anything goes wrong. So what's a parent to do? Carol Dweck says, if parents want to give their children a gift, the best thing they can do is to teach their children to love challenges, be intrigued by mistakes, enjoy effort, seek new strategies, and keep on learning. That way their children don't have to be slaves of praise. They will have a lifelong way to build and repair their own confidence. 9-year-old Elizabeth was on her way to her first gymnastics meet. She was nervous, but felt confident of doing well. Elizabeth went first in the floor exercises. Although she did a nice job, the scoring changed after the first few girls, and she lost. She did well in other events, but not well enough to win. By the end of the evening, she was devastated. What would you say if you were Elizabeth's parents? According to Dweck, there is a strong message in our society about how to boost children's self-esteem. And the main part of that message is, protect them from failure. While this may help with the immediate problem of a child's disappointment, it can be harmful in the long run. Let's look at 5 possible responses from a mindset point of view and listen to the messages. Would you tell her you thought she was the best? Well, that's insincere. She was not the best. You know it, and she does too. And it offers her no recipe for how to recover or how to improve. Tell her she was robbed of a ribbon that was rightfully hers. That places blame on others. The problem was with her performance, not the judges. Do you want her to grow up blaming others for her deficiencies? Reassure her that gymnastics is not that important. Well, that teaches her to value something if she doesn't do well in it right away. Is this really the message you want to send? Would you tell her she has the ability and will surely win the next time? Does ability automatically take you where you want to go? She didn't win this meet. There is no guarantee she will win the next one. Would you tell her she didn't deserve to win this time? But in a different way, of course. Well, that's exactly what Elizabeth's growth mindset father actually said. Elizabeth, I know how you feel. It's so disappointing to have your hopes up and to perform your best but not win. But you know you haven't really earned it yet. There were many girls there who've been in gymnastics longer than you and who've worked a lot harder than you. If this is something you really want, then it's something you really have to work for. He also let Elizabeth know that if she wanted to do gymnastics purely for fun, that was just fine. But if she wanted to excel in competitions, more was required. Elizabeth took this to heart, spending more time perfecting her routines, and eventually did win ribbons and competitions. As a parent, you will, as Elizabeth's father did, encounter situations where you can encourage and reinforce a growth mindset. Figuring out what to say to a child is not clear. We are going to look at some situations where you may face, and look at some potential messages you can give about mindset in response to those situations. As we work through these scenarios, keep in mind that it is important to give your child feedback about their progress and their results so they can specifically see areas for growth. The situation is your daughter is struggling. Your daughter studied so hard on a math test, or let's say on an English test, but didn't get the grade she was hoping for. What would you say? Would you tell her you think she is the best mathematician or the best writer? Tell her she was robbed, the teacher is a really hard grader or doesn't give good notes? Reassure her that she wants to be a writer so math isn't important, or wants to be a scientist so writing isn't important? Tell her she has the ability and would surely ace the next test. Now you know from Elizabeth's gymnastics story that these responses are either insincere, blame others, or offer no recipe for improvement. Let's look at potential responses that promote growth and learning. The underlying principle is that when challenge becomes difficult and your daughter wants to give up, support her by identifying strategies that will support persistence and resilience. You could say, what was your approach to studying? Let's think about how to approach this differently. Where did you think you might be struggling the most? Let's focus on the difficulties to see if we can figure it out. Who else can you ask for help? Let's put a plan together for the next so many days or weeks. And sometimes you just need to de-stress so your brain can relax and process better. Take a deep breath, change your location, listen to music, etc. Suppose the situation is that your daughter is experiencing slow progress despite effort. The underlying principles are that effort is the key to success. Identify supports to help foster a sense of success and accomplishment. Analyze the strategies being used and see if they can be improved. You could say, I see you tried so many times, 5 times, 6 times. I admire your persistence. It will pay off. Let's review your attempts to determine the best course of action. Remind yourself that you just can't do it yet. Let's think through some next steps to take. I expect you to make mistakes. Mistakes signal opportunities for learning. What did you notice in the mistakes you made? Let's talk about how you've been approaching the problem or assignment. Maybe one of your strategies can be improved. Suppose the situation is your child is making progress. underlying principle is that as your daughter begins to make progress toward a goal, it's important to praise the process in order to build persistence. You could say, "You've been working on this for a while and you didn't quit. I see you are using such and such strategy. What other strategies have you used or could use to continue to make progress? I can see a difference in this work compared to such and such from last week or yesterday. What has changed? Talk me through what you did." Again, emphasis on process. Suppose your child is succeeding with strong effort. The underlying principles are: it is important to acknowledge the effort once a new challenge is overcome and complete. When your daughter understands that she has strategies in her toolbox for tackling big challenges, she will be able to use specific tools for specific challenges. You could say, "What was it like for you when you started work on? Look how different it is for you to do that now. What do you think contributed to your success in? This had that one brilliant mistake. Let's talk about what you learned from that mistake. The next time you have a challenge this big, what can you use from this experience? Congratulations for trying again and again to get this done. It's exciting to see the difference in your work now compared to your earlier work." The way we talk to our children becomes their inner voice. When we give feedback, we default to what we learned and heard given to us. This is generally feedback focused on the outcome or the person. With enough practice, feedback focused on the process can become second nature for us. It is helpful to script a few responses in advance as a cheat sheet. Choose one or two situations and work on those first. When you have mastered those, move on to another. There are a few handouts to get you started. I'd like to end by saying what I said at the beginning. Every word you say sends a message. What kind of message will you send? A fixed mindset message or a growth mindset message?